All right, AgGrad Nation, we are going live with another career spotlight. My name is Tim Hammerich. I'm an agribusiness recruiter and one of the founders of AgGrad. And if you haven't joined these Facebook Lives or these career spotlights before, they're really a lot of fun. It's our chance to look into a career beyond just what's on a job description or what you might see from, an infographic or a website, and really talk to somebody who is living it every day and get to understand what's great about it, what's challenging about it, and most importantly, what it's really like. We like to do these live because if anybody wants to join us and actually ask some questions about what the position is, some unique questions unique to your situation, you're more than welcome to do that. We have today a great episode, one that I've been looking forward to because a lot of times people are wondering if they could teach. They think, I love agriculture, I like people, I like making a difference in the world, and I just don't know though if I'm cut out to be a classroom teacher, if I could teach ag. So we have on the show today a classroom teacher in Mr. Ben Maples. And we're going to talk to him, but we're going to talk to him in just a minute. Before we do, we're actually going to get an honest perspective, and she's live, so she can just be as honest as she wants and doesn't have to take it back because it's going to happen live. So we have Natalie Bartlow. And Natalie, I'm going to bring you on the show right here. You're on the AgGrad Live show. Natalie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Natalie is a junior at Elkmont High School in Alabama. She is the vice president of her chapter. Natalie, tell us about how you got into agriculture in the first place.
Well, I think it was about 2 years ago in 2015. I signed up for an ag class. I really didn't know what I was doing. And actually, that was the first year my ag teacher, Ben Maples, came to Elkmont. And I was in the 9th grade. I came in here and I had no idea what I was doing. But then he started getting to the subject and stuff. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to join FFA?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. I don't know what I'm doing, but that sounds great." And then he got me involved with all these teams, and it's taken me a lot of places.
That's cool. So when you came into high school, what was your perception of agriculture and FFA?
I just kind of thought, it wasn't for me. I was kind of interested in it because I did like animals, and I did respect our farmers and stuff, but I was just like, maybe it's not for me. But I went ahead and tried it anyways.
And you have a little bit of ag background, right? Is it in sheep?
Yes. My grandparents, they originally had a goat farm till I was about 14, and then I helped them switch over to sheep. And then we've been working on this operation together. It's a small sheep farm off in Tennessee.
And so you don't have to be, you don't have to lie because I know he's sitting right next to you. But what has having a good ag teacher like Mr. Maples done for your kind of path and in maturing as a person and your kind of career choice as well?
Well, he's opened a lot of doors for me. He's opened a lot of opportunities. I've been able to meet people that have gotten me places. I've been able to, he's taught me a lot of responsibility, especially with me leading my chapter as being the vice president. He's introduced me to a lot of CDE teams, and my perspective and all the people that I've met has just changed drastically, and it's really improved my life.
And now you are a junior, so you've got one more year, but you're already starting to think about career-wise. So what is on the horizon for you after graduation?
Right now, I'm pretty dead set on going to Mississippi State, the College of Ag. I want to become an embryologist. I want to breed cattle and sheep and have my own operation and show quality animals.
Very, very cool. Natalie, well, thank you for being on. I want to bring Mr. Maples on. We have Ben Maples here. He is the ag teacher at Elkmont High School in Alabama, and we just heard from one of his students, Natalie Bartlow, and the vice president of the FFA chapter here. Ben, I want to hear what's it really like for people who are out there sitting down thinking, I don't know if teaching's for me. Could you give us an idea of what type of person really should consider a career in teaching ag?
First person that should consider that type of career is you have to like students. You have to be able to make that connection with kids so that they can take what you're learning and use it. And you've got to be very dedicated and hardworking on this end to be successful. This ag ed job, most people think teaching jobs are 7:30 to 3:30, and that's it. I run pretty much 24 hours a day on 7 days a week with this to keep these programs going, because Ag Ed's different. We're not like a math. We're not like a science. We have the FFA chapter with after school activities. You have the day-to-day teaching the different core classes you have. And so you got to be a well-driven, motivated individual to get in there and not be scared to talk in front of people. That's what a lot of people get scared of. They don't want to teach class because they don't want to. They're scared to speak in front of folks. And if they have that, you can still get over it and still be able to be a productive teacher one day.
And give us a little bit more of an idea. So obviously the teaching, like you said, the 7:30 to 3:30, and then the after hours is you're coaching teams, you're doing meetings. What type of stuff are you doing?
We coach teams 4 days a week, usually go till about dark on teams. And then after that, it's like my wife says, my phone rings off the hook as soon as I get home. And it's with sponsors and people who support our program. It's officers who's had ideas of things to do or things that we have going on. It's just a constant communication between me, my officers, and then the community support that we have, because ag programs, we can't function without a great community behind us. And without that community, we're not able to accomplish and do a lot of things that we'd like to.
Absolutely. And I know for you, your career path straight out of college, you actually went a different route, not teaching, and now you're teaching. So for people trying to weigh career options, can you just tell us from your own experience, that first job you had to what you're doing now, the differences and what drives you to work so hard for these students?
Yeah. Coming out, I went straight general ag was my degree, and I went and worked in sod farm, and I kind of started laying that foundation of, if I want to establish a family, what are the things I need? And benefits and insurance were very important in that. And state insurance is great, and especially with a family. And so that's why I decided to go back and get this Ag Ed certification. And also what drove me to do that was I had a great ag teacher in school, and it kind of got me motivated into doing this and going in. And I mean, what drives me is these kids. I love seeing these kids succeed. Like Natalie, she was just on. I had her in 2 years, and within 2 years, she's judging at Ex-Arbon. She's judging at y'all did Boilermaker and Purdue. I mean, and Stockman. These are national contests that these kids are going at. And my land teams are great. They've competed nationally, and just seeing these kids succeed and get something out of this is better than anything I could ask for. That's why I do my job, so I can see these kids just grow.
So you mentioned land judging. Then what was the first judging team? Is that livestock judging?
Livestock, yes.
Okay, so you coached land and livestock judging teams.
Yes, we coach. I can go through the list if you want.
Yeah, let's hear them.
All right. Well, and this goes back to why it's a 24-hour day job. Land, livestock, discussion meet, public speaking, tractor driving, quiz bowl, forestry, ag mechanics, welding, aquaculture, vet science. That's pretty much the big ones that we do. And that's the cool thing with FFA is we have a contest for any interest. I mean, any interest a kid has, we have a contest for that. And they're called CDEs, career development events, because it prepares them for a career.
Yeah.
And so
that's great that they get a taste of that kind of diversity. So for you, as you're a one teacher program, right?
That's correct. Yes.
So with all those teams, you are maxed out as it is. What happens when a student comes up to you and says, "Oh, well, I'm actually also interested in this other brand new team that you don't already have a team for?"
Yeah, well, I'm actually very lucky going back to the community side of it. I have people who help me with these teams. My land team, I've got a farmer here in the county. He was on the Auburn's national soils team that won, and he helps with land. I've got a horse evaluation team that we're starting this year because it just like you said, I had a couple students that wanted to do some horse eval, and I don't know nothing about horses. But I actually got to talking and have a guidance counselor here who used to judge horses in school. So she's going to help coach that team. And so it's one of those, you always hear the term, master, what is it? What does it say?
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, master of none. ag teachers, we try to be a master of all of them, but we can't do it. So we do what we can.
How was that when you first started? I've heard that part of what intimidates people from teaching ag is like, well, yeah, I know a lot about cattle, but I don't really know anything about anything else. I can't be expected to teach because I don't know. You can't possibly know everything about the ag industry. So how did you handle that?
The way I handled it, I'm not afraid to ask questions, call somebody who's smarter than I am. And that's one of the big things I see with people who are going through with this is they want to show that they're the best at it, but make a phone call somebody who's done it before. My ag teacher I had in school, I call him about 3 or 4 times a week. I got a welding buddy. I call him. I've got a couple folks on the plant science side. I call them. Yeah. And as long as, taking that advice and calling and finding out is what's helped me personally to start learning all this. Because like you said, you can't learn everything. You can't be good at everything. And so that's how I've done it. And, it's a constant motivation. I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos too.
I love YouTube. I know you can learn anything on YouTube. Before we went live here, you were talking about the demand for ag teachers. Can you tell us, everybody who's tuning in now, a little bit about that?
Yeah, ag teachers is a hot profession to get into. There's a big need for it. State of Alabama, I can speak for state of Alabama. I know 2 years ago we had 42 openings across the state, with Auburn only producing 6 graduates to fill those 42 openings. And so there is a demand out there for this. And why the demand is out there is, I think it kind of goes back like what you said. Most people think that they have to know everything, and you don't have to be that way. It's a learning curve, but you get over that learning curve with some dedication and work towards it. But anybody that wants to go in ag ed, I would be more than hard pressed to you do it, because there is a job market out there for you.
Yeah, usually we're talking the other way around. 42 graduates for 6 openings, but he just said 6 graduates for 42 openings. That's just in Alabama, and I know this is a nationwide problem. I had Dr. David Foster from Penn State on my podcast last summer, and he was talking about just nationally how many programs actually have to close down because they can't find a qualified teacher. And talk a little bit about that. A lot of people are thinking, boy, it would be great to teach ag, but I went and got an agronomy degree, and I don't want to go back to college and get an ag ed degree. What's that like, at least in Alabama?
In Alabama, we've got some different options because we fall under career tech. And with career tech education in Alabama, you can get what's called an emergency certification. And so, like, if you've got an agronomy degree, you can actually come in, pass the ag practice, and you can start teaching. And then you've got 2 years to finish whatever other classes you need to get that teaching certification. So you can actually be working, making a paycheck, and finishing your stuff. And then once those 2 years, you're a certified teacher and ready to go. So you can get employed and start going.
That's great. And I know you talked about all the hours and the challenges of trying to, meet the needs of a diverse group of students that you're trying to work with. Can you pick out a story or two that sticks out in your mind as like, that was when you said, you know what, it's all worth it. The amount of hours and everything I do, it's really worth it to do this job.
Yeah. Biggest, thing, I got a couple. First thing's Natalie here sitting next to me, watching her grow from as a 9th grader to where she is now. It's just been phenomenal. This young lady, she's one of the top on the 4-H side, livestock judging in the state. She made state team this year, and going from not knowing anything to the level she's at now, that's been very well worth it in seeing that. And then same thing with my land teams. They won the state last year, and watching them win that state contest, from going same aspect. I had one young lady who I had to recruit her to get her in an ag class. It took me 1.5 years to recruit her, and she was a high scoring individual in the land contest and the aquaculture contest.
Wow.
And best part, she's allergic to fish. So, but she was a high scoring individual in aquaculture. But
probably didn't release that information during the contest.
No, we did not. But, seeing this from, zero. So, the self-confidence is built in them, and just seeing that growth going through, that's what makes it worth it. That's why we do it here. And then all the stuff we have in the shop, and seeing kids that actually graduate here and go and get a job, and I see them later, and it's like, hey, I actually learned something in your class that's helping me with my job. That's what makes it worth it.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And I don't think I noticed it at the time when I was in high school, but definitely looking back now, I see where it was such a pivotal time for me to gain confidence in myself.
Yeah.
And what being an ag and FFA helped me to do was gain confidence in the right areas. You know what I mean? Not in confidence in being rebellious or confidence in, sports where I was never going to go on to, play in the NBA, but confidence in like right areas that actually have served me well throughout life. And it's pretty incredible I bet for you to be kind of the one that helps these young people do that.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, it makes you feel like you're making a difference. And I've got an ag teacher buddy. He went and got another job and he came back to teaching ag because the reason was he didn't feel like he was making a difference in the world with his other job. And coming back to it, I mean, like my wife says, I spend as much time with these kids here as I do my kids at the house, and having that impact and helping them grow and helping them become great, citizens is really worth it.
I know one thing that's neat for you is this is the high school you graduated from, right?
That is correct. Yes.
And you moved back to your hometown. I know you've got your own side business as well. I don't know where you find the time, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about your side business. You actually you run cattle on the side, right?
Yes, that's correct. I'm back. I farm with my granddad and my dad, and we run about 200 head of Angus cattle. And the farm has actually been in the family since 1818. Wow. So, and Alabama was a state in 1819. And so, we do that. We run on the side. So that's every weekend and in the evenings we do that. And it's great being here in my hometown and having the farm here in the hometown because I get free labor like there's no tomorrow. Like Natalie helps me do genomics on my calves and helps me work calves, and she's my tattoo gun loader. And so, having that labor here helps as well.
Yeah.
But like that was one thing I swore I was never doing was coming back and teaching at my high school.
Why is that?
Just because I knew everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's, you talk about earlier with advice and stuff. The biggest advice I can offer anybody who's going into ag ed is your first couple of years, go teach somewhere else. Hmm. Don't teach in your high school. I taught in Southwest Alabama for 2 years, and that was the best thing I ever did because I was down there by myself, and I could be scared all I wanted to, but it wasn't gonna matter because I was there and I had to do my job. And I feel like I grew a lot during those 2 years, and then as I transitioned slowly back to here, it's made me a lot better teacher than coming straight out of school and going to where I graduated from.
Right.
And I see a lot of ag teachers, they'll do that. They'll graduate and they'll get a job selling feed or something, just waiting for their high school ag program to open back up to get in. And I mean, for me, that was not going to work.
Tell us about those first 2 years. What did you have to learn? In some things, and it's hard to see this when you're in college, but after you're working a while, you realize some things you just have to learn by experience, right? Well, what were the things that you had to learn kind of those first 2 years of experience out the gate?
Not being terrified.
That's a good start.
First thing to learn out the gate is classroom management, how to manage students, how to manage problems like that. And, I handle things now different than I would when I'm my first year or two going to school. And it's just one of those things where you'll learn more in the first semester of teaching high school than you will the entire 4 years of going to college to learn how to do it. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's just the way it goes. And your student teaching is the same way. I mean, you'll learn a lot during that student teaching time than you would the whole time you were in school getting ready for it. And that's another thing is anybody who's looking to go into ag ed, I would suggest see if you can get somebody to let you come in and teach a class before you get too far into it. Because some people it just doesn't work out. I mean, when I was in school, I was student teaching. I had a young man who was student teaching history, and he quit middle of the student teaching because he figured out it wasn't for him. And so, you can get in and try to teach some and see what you think about it before you go too far.
Yeah, talk a little bit more specifically about the teaching part. I think a lot of people would say, "Oh yeah, the FFA stuff, coaching teams and winning contests, and the SAE and getting out there and going to shows, like all that sounds fun." It seems to me like the classroom teaching part is maybe the less glamorous of it. So, what's kind of the joys and challenges of being in the classroom?
The joys I like about it is I get to do something different all day long. Like right now, I got 5 different preps. I teach 2 welding classes, a plant science class, a animal science class, and then 2 introduction classes to middle school. And so I'm doing something different every hour of every day. And I really like that just because I don't get the monotony. I can do something as I roll through. Another thing with the classroom part is it's a lot different than being like in a math class. Because I remember in math, I'd sit there in a desk for 45 minutes and then I go somewhere else. Here we get up, we can go to the shop, we do a lot of hands-on things. And that really makes it a lot more enjoyable from my end. And I know it makes a lot more enjoyable on students' end because they like the hands-on aspect of what we do down here. And so
nice change of pace for them too, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, they think they like it. That's whenever if I tell them we're going in the shop, they should do get out of their desk really, really quick to go back there.
You had mentioned to me a story of you had a young lady that went through your program that ended up being an incredible welder. I thought that was kind of a neat story. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I had a young lady last year, and she's actually looking to go into ag ed. I got her in, and she started working on her welding, and she's ended up being the best one I've ever taught. We do a lot of welding here, a lot of metal fab, and I have people come in. I can still remember when one gentleman brought in a bush hog, and I needed a plate welded on it. And we do stuff at the community like that. And came in, and I said, "Leah, go weld that up." And she went over there, and he said, she ain't gonna be able to do that. I said, "You just watch, buddy." And she get down there, laid the prettiest bead you ever seen in your life. And that stuff right there is what motivates and I like seeing that. I like seeing kids get out of their comfort zone and doing something different and taking a lead role and things like that.
Yeah. Well, Ben Maples, there's no doubt you care about your students and you're making a difference there. If somebody's watching and wants to reach out to you to talk to you, because sometimes it just helps to talk to somebody who's really doing this, is there a way they could get a hold of you?
They can email me. That's easy. That'd be the easiest way. Okay. My email is benmaplesag@gmail.
benmaplesag@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
All right. I just put it up there. Ben Maples AG. So benmaplesag@gmail.com. Give Ben a shout if you're considering a career in teaching ag and want to know a little bit more about that. Also, if you just want to learn more about agricultural careers in general, head to our website, jobs.aggrad.com, and create a profile there. We'd be happy to keep in touch with you about future Facebook Lives like this, but also other content related to opportunities in agriculture. So Ben and Natalie, thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to be signing off.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.